Okay, I'm going to try to read part 4. This is part of lesson 411 in um, in our IQ curriculum for grade 6, and I have already recorded 1 through 3. So as part of 411, you'll be assigned to read 4 and on. So I'm going to record 4 right now. Orpheus and the Argo. To reach Colchis, where the Golden Fleece was kept, the heroes needed a mighty ship. So together they felled the pines of Iolcus, and the wise shipwright Argus taught them to build a galley, the first long ship that ever sailed the sea. He showed them how to bore holes for 50 oars, one for each hero of the crew. He helped them fill the cracks with pitch and paint the bow in all scarlet, and for that they named the ship Argo after him. Well, they built, Jason journeyed through the north until he found Orpheus, prince of minstrels. Old friend, he said, will you sail with me to Colchis to win the Golden Fleece and charm all the men and monsters we meet with your lyre and song? I have wandered far and wide since I lived in Chiron's cave, said Orpheus, and I am weary of travel. But I will go with you for friendship's sake and win you back your kingdom. Jason and Orpheus returned to Iolcus, where the heroes had just finished building a ship together. Building the ship together, they tried to launch it into the sea, but the boat was too heavy for them to move, and the keel sank deep into the sand. But Jason said, "Let Orpheus play upon his lyre. Perhaps his song can succeed where our strength cannot." Then Orpheus picked up his harp and sang. How sweet it is to ride upon the surges, to leap from wave to wave, while wind sings cheerful for the cordage. How sweet it is to roam the ocean and see the new towns and wondrous lands, to come home laden with treasure and win undying fame. And the Argo heard him and longed to be away and out at sea. Every plank stirred and the ship heaved from stem to stern. The heroes quickly laid out a path of pine trunks before it, and the ship rolled over them into the waiting sea. They stored the ship well with food and water, then pulled the ladder up on board. Each man took his oar and rowed in time with Orpheus' song. The people lined the cliffs, and the women waved, and the men shouted at the starting of the gallant crew. Part 5. A secret. After much sailing, the heroes brought the Argo to rest on a cold and wind-swept beach. They walked through the forest of storm-whipped trees and silent, empty city beyond. What happened here? They muttered to each other. A sad-faced man met them at the palace door and said, "Welcome, heroes. I am King Phineus. This was once a golden land, glowing with grain and riches. Now it is a land of bitterness and misery, bare as the rocks that line the beach. Yet come in and I will show you what hospitality I can." He led them into the palace and set meat and drink before them. But before they can even taste the food, 2 monsters flew in through the windows. They had the faces and hair of fair maidens, but the wings and claws of hawks. They snatched the food off the table and flew shrieking around the room, sending off icy whirlwinds with each beat of their enormous wings. "What are those beeps?" Jason said. "What do they want?" "They are harpies," replied King Phineus. "They sweep the food off our tables and ravage our beaches with storms so that we starve in spite of all our wealth." Furious, 2 of the heroes sprang up and chased the harpies out of the room, through the city, and along the beach. So fierce was their battle that every building, from the meanest hut to the palace itself, swayed on its foundations. Great stones were torn from the crags, and the forest pines were hurled earthward. The sea boiled with white foam, and the clouds were dashed against the cliffs. But at last the harpies fled, screaming toward the south. "How can I thank you?" cried the king. "My treasures are gone. My kingdom is worthless. But do I have one thing that you might find valuable?" "A secret." "I do have one thing you might find valuable. A secret. If you are truly staying to Colchis, you must beware of the clashing rocks. Every ship that tries to sail past it is smashed between them. But I know the secret for passing through safely, and I will tell it to you." Sorry, I lost my spot. Phineus explained the secret, and the heroes hurried to their ship and set sail. Soon they saw the clashing rocks shining like spires of gray glass. As they neared, they could see the heaving and rolling upon the long sea waves, crashing and grinding together. Then Phineas took out a dove that Jason took out the dove that Phineas had given him. "Fear not," he said as he released it into the air. "This bird will be our pilot." The dove rushed through the rocks like an arrow, and the rocks clashed together around it. But the bird was so swift that the rocks only struck one feather from its tail and then sprang apart in shock. The heroes cheered and paddled madly to rush through the toppling ice crags, but the clashing rocks were stuck apart and clashed neither around them nor any ship since to this day.